My name is Marcus. I'm 34. By day, I'm a commercial real estate developer. By night, I restore vintage motorcycles in my garage. In my family, I'm the invisible fixer. The one who quietly handles problems while everyone else takes credit. I grew up with one rule: Marcus, just stay quiet and help. My sister Emma was the golden child. Perfect grades, perfect boyfriends, perfect everything. I was the dependable shadow who made her shine brighter. I don't make scenes. I don't yell. I don't slam doors. That's not my style. I take notes. 3 months ago, my phone buzzed. Emma was calling about her engagement to Derek, some trust fund kid from Connecticut. I could hear champagne glasses clinking in the background. Marcus. Amazing news. Derek proposed. We're having the wedding at Rosewood Manor in June. It's going to be absolutely perfect. I knew Rosewood Manor. Gorgeous venue. I'd driven past it countless times. That's great, Em. Congratulations. Listen. Her voice shifted. That tone I knew too well. We need to talk about something. Derek's family they're very traditional. Very image conscious. And honestly, we've been thinking about the guest list. My chest tightened, but I kept my voice steady. Okay. You know how you can be at family events. Remember Uncle Bob's retirement party? You just sat in the corner with your beer, hardly talked to anyone. And that flannel shirt you wore to Cousin Sarah's graduation. I was there for 2 hours. I talked to plenty of people. Marcus, please try to understand. This wedding is costing us $180,000. Derek's parents are flying in from Europe. His dad's business partners will be there. We need everything to be polished. The word hung in the air like smoke from a house fire. So what are you saying? We think it might be better if you maybe skip this one. You know. Like, you can celebrate with us privately later. Maybe we can do dinner, just the 3 of us, after the honeymoon. I stared at my reflection in the kitchen window. 34 years old, and I was still the embarrassing little brother who didn't fit the aesthetic. Emma, I'm your only sibling. I know. And I love you. But Derek's mom specifically asked about the kind of energy we wanted at the wedding. She used the word refined. And you have to admit, social events aren't really your thing. My thing. You know what I mean. You're great with your work stuff, your motorcycle friends. But this crowd, it's different. They talk about wine regions and art galleries. I just don't want you to feel uncomfortable. The familiar ache started in my chest. The same feeling from every birthday party where I was seated at the kids' table until I was 16. Every family photo where I was positioned in the back corner. Okay, I said quietly. Really? You're not mad? No, Em. I want your day to be perfect. You're the best brother ever. I promise we'll make it up to you. She hung up. I sat in my kitchen, staring at my phone, surrounded by the silence of my house that I'd bought and renovated entirely by myself. 2 weeks later, Dad called. Son, I need a favor. Emma's wedding venue is asking for some kind of insurance documentation. Something about liability coverage for outdoor events. She's stressed about it. Can you handle the paperwork? You're good with that business stuff. I thought I wasn't invited to the wedding. Well, you know how Emma gets. But this is important. Family helping family. I took a slow breath. Send me the details. That evening, I opened my laptop and pulled up the insurance requirements from Rosewood Manor. I'd handled similar documents dozens of times for my properties. Commercial liability, event coverage, vendor insurance, all standard stuff. But as I scrolled through the venue's contact information, something made me pause. I opened another browser tab and logged into my property management portal. I stared at the screen. Rosewood Manor. 42 Elm Ridge Road. Purchase date, October 15, 2019. Current owner, M. Richardson Holdings, LLC. My company. My property. I'd bought Rosewood Manor 4.5 years ago as part of a portfolio acquisition. It was one of 12 properties I'd purchased from a struggling events company. I'd been so focused on the 2 office buildings and the shopping center in the deal that I'd barely paid attention to the manor house. My property manager, Janet, had been handling all the bookings. I received quarterly reports, but I never looked at the specific event details. Just revenue numbers and maintenance costs. My sister was planning to spend $180,000 on a wedding at a venue that I owned. And I wasn't invited because I might ruin the aesthetic. I scrolled through Janet's emails. There it was, Richardson Wedding, June 15th. Full premium package. Final head count, 180 guests. I leaned back in my chair and laughed. Not a bitter laugh. Just, the universe has a sense of humor. The next morning, I called Janet. Hey, I need to talk to you about the Richardson wedding on June 15th. Oh yes. Beautiful event. The bride's been very particular about details. Is there a problem? Not a problem. But I need to be added to the approved vendor list for that event. I'll be on site that day. Of course, Mr. Richardson. Any special requirements? Just make sure they know the owner will be present for final walkthrough. Over the next month, Emma called me 6 more times. Could I handle the flower delivery logistics? Could I coordinate with the caterer about parking? Could I manage the gift table setup since I understood organizational stuff? Each time, I said yes. I wasn't just helping with her wedding. I was providing the venue, managing the coordination, and handling half the logistics. But I was too embarrassing to actually attend. The morning of June 15th arrived with perfect weather. 72 degrees, light breeze, not a cloud in the sky. I drove to Rosewood Manor at 8 a.m., 3 hours before the ceremony. Janet met me at the front entrance. Everything's set, Mr. Richardson. Catering team arrives at 10. Flowers at 11. The bride requested final setup confirmation by noon. Perfect. I'll handle the final walkthrough personally. At 10:45, I was inspecting the sound system when I heard familiar voices near the bridal suite. Emma and my mother, discussing last-minute details. Mom, did Marcus handle the parking situation? I don't want guests walking too far in heels. He took care of everything, honey. Your brother might not be social, but he's reliable. I feel a little bad about not inviting him. But Derek's parents would have asked questions. You know how Marcus gets at fancy events. I walked closer, adjusting my navy blazer and Italian leather shoes. I'd learned long ago that in commercial real estate, appearance matters. Today, I looked like I belonged at any country club in America. At exactly noon, I knocked on the bridal suite door. Emma opened it, stunning in her white dress, face glowing with happiness. Then she saw me. Marcus? What are you? How did you get in here? This is a private venue. Hi, Em. You look beautiful. Thank you, but security should have stopped you at the gate. You're not on the guest list. My mother appeared behind her. Marcus, what are you doing here? You can't just crash the wedding. I'm not crashing anything. I pulled out my phone and opened the email thread with Janet. I'm here for final walkthrough approval. Emma squinted at my phone. What does that mean? It means I need to verify that everything meets the venue's standards before we allow the ceremony to proceed. Marcus, what are you talking about? I looked at both of them. 2 women I'd spent 34 years trying to please. 2 women who'd called me reliable and dependable and helpful, but never quite good enough to include. Emma, who owns Rosewood Manor? Some company, I don't know. Derek's dad found it through his business connections. Why? M. Richardson Holdings. Does that name sound familiar? My mother frowned. Richardson, that's our last name. It's my company, Mom. I bought this property 4.5 years ago. The silence stretched like a taut wire. Emma's face went white. That's impossible. I pulled out my phone and showed her the property deed, the business registration, the insurance documents she'd asked me to handle. You've been planning your wedding at my venue. The venue I own. The same venue where I'm apparently too embarrassing to be a guest. Emma sank into a chair, her dress billowing around her. Marcus, I had no idea. For 3 months, you've called me asking for help with your wedding logistics. Parking, catering coordination, vendor management. I handled all of it because I wanted your day to be perfect. I just didn't realize I was doing it for my own property. My mother stepped forward. Marcus, surely we can work this out. Oh, we absolutely can work this out. I straightened my cuffs. In fact, I have a proposal. I'm willing to provide Rosewood Manor for Emma's wedding today, free of charge. That's about $40,000 I'm willing to gift to my sister. Emma's eyes filled with hope. Really? On one condition. I want a seat at the wedding. Not at the vendor table. Not behind a pillar. A proper seat, with the family, where your only brother belongs. The bridal suite was completely silent except for the sound of Emma's breathing. But Derek's parents. She whispered. Derek's parents can meet the man who owns the venue where their son is getting married. I think they'll find me adequately refined. My mother looked between us. Marcus, be reasonable. Mom, I am being reasonable. I'm offering a $40,000 gift to my sister. I'm asking for basic human dignity in return. Either I'm family, or I'm a vendor. But you can't have me be both when it's convenient and neither when it matters. Emma stood up, smoothing her dress. If you don't get your seat, then at 12:30, I'll notify all guests that the venue is no longer available due to ownership complications. Janet has a list of approved alternative venues, but none of them are available today. Your $180,000 wedding becomes Derek's problem to solve in 3 hours. I wasn't threatening. I was stating facts. Emma looked at her phone. I need to call Derek. Of course. Take your time. I walked out to the main hall where workers were setting up chairs and arranging flowers. Everything looked perfect. My property looked exactly like the elegant venue Emma had dreamed of. 15 minutes later, Emma appeared with Derek trailing behind her. He was tall, blond, and looked like every trust fund kid from Connecticut I'd ever met. You must be Marcus, Derek said, extending his hand. I'm hearing you own this place. I do. Congratulations on your wedding. Emma tells me there's been a misunderstanding about the guest list. Not a misunderstanding. Your fiancé decided I wasn't refined enough to attend my sister's wedding. I decided I wasn't comfortable hosting an event where I'm not welcome as family. Derek looked genuinely confused. But you're her only brother. That's what I thought too. Emma stepped forward, mascara slightly smudged. Marcus, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I was so worried about impressions and I forgot what actually matters. What actually matters? You're my brother. You've always been there for me. And I treated you like hired help instead of family. I looked at both of them. Emma, in her perfect dress, finally seeing me clearly. Derek, realizing his new in-laws came with complications he hadn't expected. Derek, your parents are going to meet me today. They're going to learn that I own a successful real estate development company, that I restore vintage motorcycles as a hobby, and that I've been quietly taking care of this family for 34 years. If that doesn't meet their definition of refined, they're welcome to host future family events somewhere else. Derek looked at Emma, then back at me. My parents are going to love you, Marcus. They respect people who build something from nothing. Good. Then let's have a wedding. At 3 p.m., I walked Emma down the aisle. Not because our father wasn't there. He was sitting in the front row next to Derek's parents, deep in conversation about property investment strategies. I walked her down because she asked me to. "Thank you," she whispered as we reached Derek. "For what?" "For being the kind of person who owns beautiful places and shares them with people who don't deserve it." "You're my sister, Em. You've always deserved it." The ceremony was perfect. The reception was elegant. I sat with my family at the head table, where I belonged. During the father-daughter dance, Derek's dad found me at the bar. "Marcus, I understand you're in commercial development." "Among other things, yes, sir." "We should talk. I have some projects in Hartford that might interest you." "I'd like that." He raised his glass. "To family businesses and the people who build them quietly." We drank to that. Later, as Emma and Derek cut the cake, my mother appeared beside me. "I owe you an apology, Marcus." "For what specifically?" "For 34 years of taking you for granted. For letting you be invisible when you should have been celebrated." I watched Emma laughing with her new husband, surrounded by friends and family in the venue I'd provided. "I was never invisible, Mom. I was just patient." "What's the difference?" Invisible people don't own the room they're standing in. 6 months later, Emma and Derek bought their first house. I handled the financing and found them a property 3 blocks from mine. Derek's dad and I closed on 2 projects together. My mother started introducing me at social events as my son, the real estate developer. But the most important thing changed that day at Rosewood Manor. I stopped being the family helper who worked for gratitude. I became the family member who helped from a position of respect. I still don't make scenes. I still don't yell or slam doors. But I learned something important that day. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is quietly own exactly where you stand. Because when you own the room, you decide who gets to stay. If this story hit different, smash that like button, because everyone who's ever been underestimated by their family deserves to feel seen. Drop a comment and tell me, what's the most shocking power move you've witnessed at a family event? And if you've got your own story of family karma, I need to hear it. Subscribe and ring that notification bell because I post these justice stories twice a week, and trust me, you don't want to miss the next one. Share this with someone who's tired of being treated like family help instead of actual family. Where are you watching from? Let me know in the comments. And remember, sometimes being quiet doesn't mean being powerless. Sometimes it means you're just taking notes until it's time to own the whole damn room.